Okay, now we're going to go into inventory preparedness tips for a virtual marketplace. So this is going to be a quick high-level look at how to prepare your inventory from start to finish for the Handmade Arcade Virtual Market. Now, we realize we've never done this before and we're trying something completely new. So we're kind of thinking through best practices. I've been thinking about this since April, and I hope that we've come up with some solutions that will work for everyone. And we're gonna just dive right in. So this presentation is based on the following presumptions about 2020. Most, if not all, in-person marketplaces were canceled this year. Some makers have participated in virtual marketplaces with other orgs, but everything's been very different. Some makers have been able to pivot reliance from in-person marketplaces to online sales, and some have not been able to pivot and need help. And many, if not all, of our makers community have lost income and opportunities this year that you rely on. So another aspect of the virtual marketplace that I don't believe I mentioned yet is that it is easily renewable. Like we can, once the virtual marketplace for the December event is over, we can, in January, we can reboot it. We can have new virtual marketplaces. We can do sales for different holidays. We can do something for Valentine's Day or Mother's Day or Father's Day. And we intend to do that. We intend to reboot the virtual marketplace in 2021 to help makers recoup losses. Because we're trying to get through this enormous task of work for the 9-day virtual market. We have that in our planning for 2021, but we don't have a plan in place yet. But we wanted to let you know that that is something that we are working on and we're intending to do. So how do we talk about preparing inventory for a brand new virtual marketplace? Well, we dive in together. First and foremost, I think it's important for any market for you to set a sales goal. Decide either how much money you want to make, how much product you have time to make, how much money you have to invest in making products this year, and you figure out the sales goal based on that. And then you work backwards to determine the number of items you need to produce to meet your goal. Okay, so let's go. So things to consider. What are your best sellers? Think about which products sell best at in-person markets versus those that sell best online. Are they the same? If they're not, what makes them different? I've heard many stories from makers over the course of the past few months about how they've had items that never sold in in-person marketplaces that take off online like crazy. So, you know, if you are already actively selling, take a look at what the differences are. And then you need to consider your financial and time investments. I know many of you have lost a lot of income and you may not have a lot of money to invest in creating products this year. And many of you have work full-time jobs, have different things happening this year. Maybe your job has changed. Maybe you have kids at home doing virtual school. Maybe you are doing more caretaking for your parents like I am because they're older and they are trying to stay home and stay safe. So, you know, you want to consider the difference in your financial and time investments this year and factor that into any kind of sales goal that you may create for yourself. So when we get into inventory production, think about what you already have in stock. Pull out your bins, pull out your items, pull everything out from years past that you may not have looked at since everything started getting canceled in March, and create an inventory of what you have. And then you take those images, take those products, and make sure you have pictures of them and make sure you upload them onto your e-commerce site. I know every year when I pull out my stuff to sell at Handmade Arcade, I am always surprised at sometimes how much is left from the year before. I only sell at Handmade Arcade and I don't sell online, or how little is left some years. So you want to think about what you have and create that inventory and get that on your website. And then you want to take a look at your materials. What do you already have in your workspace, in your studio, at your home that you can use to make new items? What do you need? What do you need to order? And we recommend you get those orders placed as soon as possible. There are some supply chain issues. I know I ordered something from Doris for a project I was working on a few months ago, and it just never came. I didn't get charged for it, but it never came, and I was never able to get through to customer service to figure out what had happened. I got a confirmation of my order. I got all of the right emails. I got an order number, but I never got the product, and I never got charged for it. So things like that are happening more often right now. So you want to make sure that you get orders placed for materials. And then you want to focus on what you want to make. What has sold well in the past, and you want to look at your data from your website and think back to last year's events. I'm going to recommend this. You can disagree with me, but I don't think now is the time to start developing brand new products. I think you should stick with what you know has sold well in the past. And I think it's really important this year to think gifts. Our marketing is going to focus on the holiday season, supporting small businesses, and rebooting the creative economy through gift giving. So we're going to be talking about that in our marketing. We're going to tell people to write up their gift list and head over to the Handmade Arcade virtual marketplace and use their their holiday season shopping budget to help reboot the creative economy. We're going to focus in on shopping small. We're not going to say, don't give any more money to the big box stores like Amazon. We've given them plenty this year, but that's the point is, we've all been in this pandemic together, and we've all been ordering from places online that maybe we haven't in the past. And it's time now for, I think, folks to really think this holiday season about the creative economy, small arts businesses, and supporting the local artists through gift giving. So time management. It's really important to create a production calendar. Val Schneider is a member of our planning committee. She is the owner of Simon's Granddaughter, and she helped me with this part of the presentation. So thanks, Val. We're going to go through, she did a handwritten production calendar that we're going to look at. It doesn't have to be fancy. It can be handwritten. It can be a spreadsheet, a task list on your phone or in your calendar, but it should have clear goals and deadlines, and you should stick to those goals. If you miss a deadline, you should adjust your calendar accordingly. Do your best to not get sidetracked by binge watching Cobra Kai on Netflix. If you haven't already watched it, save it for after the event. It's well worth your time, in my opinion. I'm a child of the 80s. I loved it. Don't get sidetracked by going out to dinner. Just kidding. I mean, go out to dinner, but be safe. And certainly don't get sidetracked by your kids' virtual school drama. I'm pretending like everything is normal, and my kids are learning just everything they need this year and living in sort of a little educational fantasy land. So your production calendar should include time for product production. You want to plan this carefully. You want to leave yourself enough time for final touches and finishes. Product photography is going to be very important this year. You need to have the best possible pictures for both your e-commerce and the Handmade Arcade virtual website. You want to remember that when you're pulled up in the search on the maker page, you're going to be pulled up alongside other makers' images. So you want to make sure that a bad lighting or a blurry image doesn't lose a click-through for you. I feel like right now is a good time to mention that one of our Maker Curriculum webinars that we're going to be offering is going to focus specifically on product photography. We're going to be creating a downloadable PDF with guidelines on how to do stellar photography. And then we're going to be hosting a webinar with some experts in the field that are going to give tips about best practices for really great product pictures. Your product production calendar should also include time for writing clear descriptions of each product. You're going to want that on your e-commerce site. You're going to want people to know what sizes it comes in, if you use recycled materials, if you, how you go about creating your product, what it's made out of. If you're a wood maker, what type of wood, where do you get the wood? Is it reclaimed wood? That kind of stuff. You want to make sure you leave time for entering and organizing inventory on your e-commerce site. You want to make sure your e-commerce site is shoppable and organized in a way that makes sense. You want to make sure that you've got all of your products in categories and sorted in a way that will make sense if someone comes to your website to look and shop. And really important information that you might not think about, but you want to make sure that the content that's on your website now is up to date. You might want to make sure that your check and make sure your contact information is up to date. I think everyone should really think about collecting email addresses from folks who may not even you may not shop from you, but if they collect an email address, then you can send information to them and get maybe some post-event product sales. And you want to make sure that your customer service guidelines are up to date on your e-commerce website. This is going to be really important this year. It's important for you to communicate with your customers during the event, throughout this time when people are shopping online. If you have customer service guidelines, you should really say that, like, you should have policies about shipping and when things are going to go out and when they should expect them, and if they don't get them, how they can get in touch with you, or if they come damaged, what you can do. You should really think that through. And we are going to have a webinar that talks about customer service guidelines with some so that we can sort of like give some best practices and tips on how to make sure that you have good guidelines, because the better customer service you provide, the more likely it is that people will shop again or recommend you to other folks. And then you want to make sure that you create all the extra deliverables and give yourself time to upload those items and information onto the virtual marketplace. You don't want to be doing that at the last minute, because we are going to need time to troubleshoot. We will have a deadline for you to have all of that ready. Right now, the deadline is set for November 7th for the website to be live, and then shortly thereafter, we'll start sending everyone logins so that you can start uploading your events. Not your events, your items. So the sooner and the earlier you do that after the deadline passes and your login is sent, the better, because it gives us time to troubleshoot. This isn't going to go like just super smoothly. I mean, maybe it will, wouldn't that be amazing? But websites and new things like this never go super smoothly. So we're giving ourselves time to buffer for troubleshooting, and we want you to give yourself time to buffer for troubleshooting. If you don't upload your information until, say, November 26th, and you have trouble, I'm not going to be able to help you. And more than likely, I'm going to just turn your page off for the event, because I can't, it's good. There's too much interactive and live stuff that's going to be going on. So we really need you to read the emails and follow the deadlines. Social media posts. You do all this fantastic work, but you don't share it with your followers. We think that's a huge mistake. Here's a really long sentence, and I'm going to read it to you. The more people you tell about the Handmade Arcade virtual market means more shoppers, which creates a bigger buzz, and new people start discovering different makers, which leads to a greater understanding and appreciation of supporting craft, maker, and arts businesses, which all adds up to an amazing virtual marketplace that helps reboot and reinvigorate the creative economy. Share, share, share. The more you share, the better. Tag us, we'll share to our story. The more we work on this together, the more we share together, the better everyone will do. I can't emphasize that enough. Okay, so here's a look at Val's handwritten production calendar. You'll see that she knew that there was going to be a Handmade Arcade virtual meeting every Thursday for the next couple of weeks, and we didn't have all of the dates the dates and the times yet. We have those now, thank goodness. So she has it here to be determined, so that she knows that she's got that happening. She's also taking a class on some of these days, so she's not going to be able to participate in these, but because she has them on here, she'll know that the next day or the weekend after, she can go and take a video or go and sit and watch the webinar if she wants to. She's got deadline to place her supplies. She's got goals for making stands and flowers. She's got everything in here. Now Val works a full-time job, so she doesn't have, all day, every day to work. So she's got to really focus in on her weekends. She wants to take off Halloween, so she has that marked as off. She wants to vote. We all want everyone to vote this year, so she has that as a non-production day. She's got her class listed in there. She's got her plates. She wants to have images for her stands ready for the website by this day. And then she wants to, recount her inventory against her website, make sure that everything that she has made is on her e-commerce website. She wants to be done with everything around Wednesday the 25th. Remember that this is a holiday, the 26th. And if we're lucky and everything settles down, maybe we'll be spending this day with family. Maybe we'll be spending it with the family we're living with right now, but maybe we'll be able to have some extended folks around. And then she wants to do one final look through, and then the virtual marketplace launches. So now she's got this whole week marked off for the virtual marketplace. You can see she's got this marked off. And here she's got herself working on shipping and drop off the remaining online orders. And she has set a goal for herself for the last day to ship through the post office. So I recommend, as you are getting orders here during the week of the event, you do a couple of things. You make sure your inventory is updated on your website. Most e-commerce sites, I believe, if you say you have 10 large t-shirts that say, voting matters, you want to make sure that as those sell, the inventory goes down. Can't imagine that an e-commerce site doesn't knock your inventory down for you, and then when it's out, it says sold out. But you want to make sure that you have that functionality set up the right way. I think it's a good idea for you to, prior to the event, get all your packaging purchased so that you have it ready to go, so that as orders come in, you can start packaging and then preparing them for mail. And on October 12th, I believe, I might have the date wrong, we'll get to that at the end. We're going to do a seminar called Navigating the U.S. Post Office. And I spent an hour or so on the phone last week with an incredibly informed and smart woman who works for the post office. She works at the Dormont Post Office, and she gave me a ton of tips about things that you can do to make things go more smoothly that I had no idea about. So I think that sharing that information will help, and we'll create a worksheet for that as well for you. So now what? You've met all your goals, you've entered your products and information to your website and to the virtual market, you've posted to social media, and you've done it all. But have you done it all? Really, all of it? I don't think so. Of course you haven't. There's still lots to consider, and still lots we haven't thought of, even though I've been thinking about this literally nonstop since March. But Handmade Arcade and the Creative Business Accelerator have created a maker curriculum to help. So you can join us for next week's Making the Most of the Gift Maker Market. We are going to have a seminar set up it's already live. You can go to Eventbrite and sign up for that. Like I said, on the 15th, not the 12th, we're going to have a Navigating the Post Office, and that's going to be about a half an hour. And then we're going to have a half an hour check-in with Handmade Arcade with questions that you may have. And then we have a video dropping, it's sort of a Web Presence 102. We did the Web Presence 101 that was sent with your applications that you could take a look at. And it's talking about using your e-commerce site as a fully functioning store. We're going to have a PDF release about stellar product photography on a budget. And then following up the next week, we're going to have a photography, legal, and website Q&A with some experts. We're going to have some we were initially going to do some social media strategies on 10/29, but we've actually changed that to more of a marketing strategies that are more broad-based and not just focusing on social media, which I think will be much more helpful. We're going to do some best practices for customer engagement and retention, which I spoke about earlier, with some experts. And then we're going to have on the 12th, I'm going to walk you through how to populate your virtual marketplace page. Hopefully by November 7th, you'll be able to log in and you'll have already started populating it. This will be a time for me to go through it with folks who might be having trouble, to troubleshoot and answer questions. And then we're going to, we initially had it scheduled for the 16th, but we're sort of rethinking that date, and we're working on getting that scheduled. It may still stay on the 16th, but it may change. But we're going to get a web expert talking to you about how to understand SEO, search engine optimization, and other analytics, so that you can really start to understand your website better. And then finally, we're going to have a panel discussion telling your story online about creating compelling content with some folks who do a really good job. So that is our presentation about inventory preparedness. I have a couple of questions here that I will answer. Some of them I've already answered in the presentation, but I'll just go through them again. Is there a media packet with images, etc.? There will be, coming soon. someone asked if the narrative is due by the 14th. Yes, only the narrative is due by the 14th. The other content will need to be ready to go by November 7th. We will get you all of the specs for that by November 7th. The video will be put on a YouTube channel and embedded in the website. Is the profile image a picture of us? Yes, it can be. The profile picture can be whatever you want. I think it should be a headshot. It can be your logo. It can be a product image. That's going to be up to you. Will you prefer that the featured image to be an image with the maker in it, or will a product or logo work? I don't think it should just be your logo. I think it should be a product possibly with your logo small and in the corner. I think an image with the maker and some of their products is also a good idea. Like if you've got a really good picture of yourself at a booth from a prior event, that might be great. Do the 10 products have to be things that are on our website to shop? I haven't uploaded new product to website for over a year due to lack of funds. I think it's important that the products on your maker page are available on your website. If they sell out, that is, that's fine. That's not a big deal. But I think that what you show in the 10 products should be representative of what folks can buy on your website. Now, there are some people who asked about one-of-a-kind items a little lower, so I'm just going to answer those right now. The one-of-a-kind items are a little bit different. I think that you need to make it clear in your product, in your narrative, that you make one-of-a-kind items, and the images below reflect what the types of items that you make. I think the products that you show on our website should be very close to products that are on your website. But I wouldn't show a product that is like really great and amazing and you've got nothing similar to it on your website. I think that's a bad idea. I offer products in some very limited quantities. If they sell out, how will that be reflected on the HA website? I think that that will be reflected on your e-commerce site. I'm not entirely sure if once the site goes live, if you will be able to log back in and swap out your images. That is something that we'll have to figure out and look into. So to be determined, I guess, on that answer. You're not only selling 10 products. Somebody asked you only selling 10 products. You just have 10 images on the Handmade Arcade website to represent your line. You can sell as many products as you want on your e-commerce site. The video format should be horizontal, yes. Every product, I mean, you have 10 products to show, so you can provide images and links to 10 products. Most of my items are one of a kind. Is that an issue? No, that's not an issue. Like I mentioned earlier, just make it clear in your narrative that you make one of a kind items and that you use upcycled, vintage jewelry and to make new pieces, different things, and everything is different. So you would just show a variety of what you make in your 10 images. I did answer this one. For people who work in multiple categories, can we be listed in each category? No, you will only be listed in the category which you applied. That is seems like a messy database nightmare to me. But that also might be something that when we go into January and we reassess, that we think about changing. Yes, so the next question is, can our images link to product categories on our website instead of individual items? Yes, you will be able to choose where your links go. If your items are made to order, like you make something like somebody said, like I think that this artist is, if I think that correctly, they you send them a picture of your pet and then they put them in these really cool scenarios, like in these old-timey pictures. So you just need to put images up that are representative of things that you've made in the past, and in your narrative make it very clear that it's made to order. And then on your website you need to be very clear about how long it will take, what the customer's expectations are. If they're ordering this as a gift for someone for Christmas, if you don't know if it will be able to get there by then, you just need to be very clear in your communications with them. The event on October 29th says 1 p.m. Should that be 6 p.m.? No, that is a 1 p.m. Unfortunately, that is one of the few, the folks who are doing that are only able to do it during the day. So we're going to do it at 1 p.m. and we're going to record it. So you might not be able to see that live, but I recommend you watch it. And everything else is just a thank you. So thank you all again for your time, and I hope this was helpful. I hope you learned a lot, and I hope you tune in for next week's seminar, the Making the Most of the Gift Market. That should say market, not gift maker on there. So anyway, I hope you all have a great night. Thanks so much.